Aloha, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank yourselves for showing up for today's practice. Today, we're going to be breaking down our peak pose for this week's restorative series, which is going to be a supine twist. So we're going to continue to work through that spinal mobility. We had our activation series, we had our strengthening sequence, and now we want to be sure that we are really getting our full range of motion from side to side, starting from the lower parts of our spine, so that as we do start to work up into the core and into the chest, we can be sure that we are moving with really good alignment and balance, both physically and energetically as well. So this is a super key pose. Honestly, it just helps across all 4 strokes. So whatever you're doing in the pool, if you just came across a strong pull set or some sort of heavy lift in the gym, both upper or lower body, this is going to start to lengthen out and bring some of that range of motion back into the body. So again, for these more restorative series, I highly recommend having a blanket or some cushions, a rolled up towel nearby, so we can go ahead and start to really melt down and relax and release in these poses. So we're going to go ahead and get started on our backs. Go ahead and bring whatever props you need nearby. And we'll start to just slowly lower down onto our backs, hugging the knees up into the chest just to start to neutralize out the spine. Big breath in here. And then on the exhale, we'll go ahead and release that left leg down to the mat. Draw that right knee up and into the shoulder, up and into the armpit space. Take a deep breath here. See if you can pull that knee up a little bit higher. And then on the exhale, we're going to go ahead and bring that knee up and over the body and allow the knee to fall on whatever blanket or cushion you have nearby, keeping that right shoulder glued onto the ground. That's the most important part here. It's not so important that we try to force that knee onto the ground. It can be as high as we need to. The most important part here is keeping that right shoulder onto the mat, allowing our spine to start to twist from that lower part of the spine, fully releasing the chest and starting to get into the deeper layers around both the lumbar and the thoracic. Once you've found whatever support you need on that right knee, we'll go ahead. I normally just keep my hand here for a little bit of added support. Again, I'm not pushing down. I'm not trying to force myself into any sort of position. And then just go ahead and gaze over to that right side, looking over those right fingertips. An option if you want to have your arm out long, option to keep it in a T, whatever you need, wherever you are with your range of motion on that side. Again, just keep that right shoulder glued into the ground. We go ahead and hold that pose from anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes at a time. So extra little layer here is to actually start to activate through that bottom left heel and see if you can find a little bit of extra length through that activation on that left side. Notice how that starts to release the area around the low back on that right side. And again, just breathing into the space, making sure that our breaths are coming deep from the layers in the belly, moving the breath in and out, and using that breath to start to get deeper, deeper into the twist. So we're not using the muscles, we're not contracting or pulling anything to get into that deep twist, but rather we're allowing the breath to start to do the work as we start to relax and release fully into the posture. I'll do the same thing on the other side just so we can get a sense of where that left shoulder is. Again, between the both sides, you just bring the knees up into the chest to neutralize. That right leg would kick out long, left knee comes in, big breath in, and then we just rotate right along the axis over that center line, keeping that left arm nice and long, bring that right knee into the ground, and again, wherever that knee wants to fall, go ahead and have the support to allow it to just be where it wants to be. We gaze over the left middle fingers, gluing that shoulder onto the ground. Use those big belly breaths to start to release. Unwind the spine and allow yourself to relax and get deeper and deeper into the pose. Whenever you're ready after those 3 to 5 minutes, we just use that breath to come back to center, drawing both knees into the chest, forehead into the knees to reset the spine. Allow the breath to come back into center line. And there you have it. So that is our supine twist. Again, super important that we just allow the breath to start to take control over the poses. We're not forcing ourselves into anything, but this is a really good pose to start to connect both the lower and the upper body. So whether it's a kick set or a pull set, whether it's squats or bicep curls or any sort of overhead lift in the gym, this pose just starts to come back into that center alignment and start to rotate on that axis. Again, essential across those long axis strokes, but equally as important for those short axis butterfly and breaststroke strokes. So go ahead and practice, master that pose. We'll be back on Friday with our full sequence, where we'll actually hold that pose for about 3 minutes at a time, allowing that fascia to start to unwind, reset, and get into some deeper physical and emotional layers with the posture. Until then, be well and namaste.